Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone's having a good morning so far. Welcome to this week's REDSHORT webinar. My name is Bill Schenkelberg, and today I'll be discussing the new trends in social engineering. I was going to be interviewing a former colleague on this subject, but he got called away on an assignment. So guess what? You're stuck with me here today. But I'll be using some of his information here this morning, so bear with me. As always, you can find more information on similar topics at redskyalliance.org. If you have missed any of the previous REDSHORTs, you can find them at that site as well. For those of you who have heard me before, I've been long intrigued with the human element of crime. After 30 years in law enforcement and security work, that human element is always very interesting to me. And it's even more so true in the cyber world. And that's because I'm not a techie, so I kind of, gravitate towards the human element. So after months of grasping the elements of cybercrime, I finally realized that there's humans behind all this type criminal activity. The motives are age old, and that's greed. The wish to rip off people and make a quick buck is still out there. Or in some cases, they rip off a lot of money. So there's many different definitions of social engineering. So today I'm going to be talking about Kaspersky's definition, which I think is pretty good. Social engineering is a manipulation technique that exploits human error to gain private information, access, or valuables. In cybercrime, these human hacking scams tend to lure unsuspected persons into exposing data, spreading malware infections, or giving access to restricted systems. Attacks can happen online, in person, and via other interactions, kind of like receiving phone calls. So what's currently going on? Today we're going to briefly explain three segments of our topics. First, we're going to talk about remote monitoring and management tools, or RMM, types of actors and the associated abuse, and what are the opportunities of detection. Let's look at RMM. Remote monitoring and management products are used in enterprises across many industries. Most often, IT departments use these products to perform maintenance on or otherwise manage their systems. As such, these tools come with a full feature set that is nearly identical to what we see in malware and malicious remote access tools, or RATs. And examples are remote access, file upload and download, file execution, and arbitrary command execution. Since these tools are legitimate and they're signed software used by enterprises worldwide, antivirus will not detect on their presence alone. This is in addition to their full feature set and makes them very attractive to threat actors, which makes it kind of very stealthy. Targets can include managed service providers, or MSPs, and IT help desks who regularly use legitimate RMM software for technical and security and user support, network management, endpoint monitoring, and to interact remotely with hosts for IT support type functions, as well as individuals and consumers. So the compromise of MSP networks will provide access to downstream customers. Again, this is very attractive to bad guys. Let's talk about threat actor techniques now. So threat actors see RMMs as very tempting alternative to custom type malware. RMM is abused by both e-criminals and state-sponsored actors. RMM offers full functionality of a malicious rat and is often acquired via free trial or in a paid period type situation. So RMMs are used for 4 different things: initial access, download of subsequent stage tooling, persistence, hand off or sale to third parties. So what are the benefits of using an RMM kind of malicious type tool? It doesn't require any administrative type privileges. Portable versions don't require full software installation. 3, can bypass software controls and common detection approaches. And then lastly, legitimately sign binaries. So who are the bad guys? These can vary from individuals, adversary type groups, ransomware collaborators, and paid for hire, which we call access brokers. So let's look at social engineering. Researchers are seeing varying approaches to social engineering. This current slide that you're seeing now just kind of gives one common example. So one, the initial contact may be an email containing a link to download an RMM, or it could be a phone call. Interestingly, the trend that threat actors are leveraging phone calls and not emails is escalating. Phone calls may be an initial contact vector for social engineering. That is, the actor calls an employee of an organization directly. And to me, this indicates the actors have clearly done their reconnaissance ahead of time to identify points of contact within the target organization. So what I was just talking about is just one common example of an attack sequence using RMM. Initial access can vary, and many include the use of compromised credentials instead of actual social engineering. It's important to note that deploying legitimate RMMs can and don't always occur at the initial access stage. They may also be downloaded by an actor once they are already in the environment. Again, this is an attractive option as download requests to reputable vendor domains may not be detected. There are also download second stage tools where hackers will sell to third parties. Second stage tools can be custom criminal malware or, in many cases, the deployment of more legitimate RMM software. From here, that is, once the actor has access to an enterprise environment through the use of an RMM, subsequent actions will depend upon the actor type, listed in the previous slide. An access broker might take no further action, but will advertise their access to the victim's organization in a criminal forum or marketplace. We actually see this in our dark web collections that we conduct on a daily basis. A ransomware actor may evaluate the victim organization being advertised and then purchase the access from the first actor. Now, a separate actor is in your environment, and in the case of ransomware affiliates, for example, they may begin to download their own custom tools, move laterally within PowerShell, WMI, and ultimately deploy ransomware across the entire victim environment. Increasingly, ransomware actors and non-ransomware actors will also exfiltrate sensitive data from the target environment. In the case of ransomware actors, they can use this as a double extortion, as quoted from a bad guy who says, "Not only do you have to pay us to decrypt your files, but you also have to pay us to prevent us from selling your data to other criminals." This slide shows a case study of an e-crime type campaign, and it was provided to us by DHS CISA, who's in charge of cybersecurity type collection and research. The recipient visits the first stage domain, which is designed to look like a legitimate help desk page. They enter the code given to them by the threat actor over the phone, which downloads the RMM executable. That is the bad executable. This executable then connects to a second stage malicious domain from which it downloads additional RMM software. Actors did not install downloaded RMM clients on the compromised host. And why is this? Portable tools like this launch within the user's context without installation. These type tools do not require administrative privileges, and they can also allow execution of unapproved software, even if a risk management control may be in place to audit and block the same software installation on your network. Threat actors can leverage a portable executable with local user rights to attack other vulnerable machines within the local internet. So what are some of the biggest things that you need to know for detection to be aware that you may be under attack with someone using an RMM? Know what remote admin software that your company uses, whether that be Zoho, AnyConnect, TeamViewer, these type of tools. There should be no legitimate reason to allow network traffic to another remote admin product domains that you're not using in your company. If you see a DNS request from, as an example, .screenconnect.com, which is a subdomain, and your IT department does not use Screen Connect for a remote management type tool, then beware of those requests, because you're being attacked and you're being socially engineered. Similarly, create a list of legitimate remote admin products that are most prevalent in the market, ones that your company does not use. That way you could use that as a cross-reference to make sure, when someone's using a different tool and trying to get into your system. Determine what domain infrastructure your RMM uses and add that to whatever flavor of network detection or logging that your company uses. So just like with any cybersecurity, you have to have good practices, not only on the hardware side and the software side, but with your employees too. And you have to make them aware that attacks like someone using, an RMM type tool, or even suspicious telephone calls coming into your company, you should scrutinize everything nowadays. I hate to say that, but you really have to be on your toes, from the CEO all the way down to the lowest level employee within your organization. That's it for today's brief. Thanks for joining us as always. I hope you enjoyed the material presented and that you found it helpful. If you have any further questions, you can contact us via the email addresses which are up on the screen. So have a nice day, and we'll see you next week on February 8th. Take care.